so as we continue to look at functions, the next thing I want to do is I want to show you and talk about what's called the vertical line test. Now, you all know how to graph things, so let's take these points, 1, 3, 4, 3, 0, 2, 4, negative 1, and 2, 0, and let's graph them all. So over 1, up 3, over 4, up 3, over 0 and up 2, over 4 and down 1, and over 2 and not up or down at all. So graph all 5 points, and this is the graphing representation of this relation. Remember, this is called a relation because the definition, without looking back, of a relation is what? What are each of these things called? Abscissa and ordinate, but as a group it's an ordered pair, right? So this is a set of ordered pairs. Now, take a vertical line and draw it through each point. Do any of the vertical lines pass through more than one point? Yes. Okay, if that happens, that is a telltale visual sign that it's not a function. So, is this a function? No, it's not a function. Now let's put why. Because the vertical line goes through that's the point 4, 3 and 4, negative 1. So sometimes it's nice to be able to see it visually in that way. In terms of thinking through it just numerically, the number 4 starts with one number 4 but goes to how many answers? 2 of them. So it's like one defensive player trying to play offense, trying to play defense against 2 offensive players. It's not going to function. That relationship is not going to function. The number 4 has 2 birthdays. A lot of different ways to think about it. Okay, so that's the vertical line test. So let me give you a quick 2 diagrams up here. All right, I graph this line and I get this curve. Anybody know what that curve is called? Ever heard the word parabola? If you drew a vertical line through that black parabola, would it always go through just one point? Yeah, so that's a function. Let's draw this parabola. Let's take the parabola and let's draw it sideways. If you drew a vertical line through that sideways parabola, would that be a function? No, because at certain points it's going to go through more than one point. So this is a function. This is not a function. So just as an example. So that's called the vertical line test. A lot of little pieces here. Moving on. The next idea talks about mapping. Mapping is a way that we can visually represent the numbers in kind of an order and kind of direct and say this number is going this way, this number is going that way. And so this is how we do a mapping diagram. On the left, we're going to have a group of numbers, and those are going to be all the domains. So kind of draw a big oval, and above it put domain. Now let's put the X's. Give me all the domains. What's the first domain here? 1. Okay, what's the domain here? 3, 4, 2, and 6. Okay? Then we're going to come over here, and over here we have the range. And let's list all the ranges. 2, 5, 9, 0. Do I need to list another 0? No. Okay, now this is, so first to do a map, Jalon, what we do is we set up, okay, these are the sets, these are the domains, these are the ranges. And now it's just very simply, the number 1 begins at 1 and ends at what? 2. And so we draw a line from 1 to 2 with an arrow. The number 3 begins at 3 and ends at 5. The number 4 begins at 4 and ends at 9. The number 2 begins at 2 and ends at 0. And 6 begins at 6 and ends at 0. Now, think through this with me. Justin and Dylan are playing basketball. They're both on defense. Jalan has been scoring points left and right. And so the coach says, both of you play defense on Jalan. Will you be able to stop him? Hopefully. 2-on-1, does that still function? That functions, that works. Because the number 6 here is going to 0, the number 2 is going to 0. Justin's covering Jalan and Dylan's covering Jalan. That's going to work. Let's think of the birthday idea. How many birthdays does 2 have? What's 2's birthday? 0. And what's 6's birthday? 0. So they each have one birthday, right? They each are covering one person. Just because they happen to be covering the same person is okay. So, is this a function? Yes, it is. Okay? Yes, it is a function. All right? Because 2 guys are going on the same one. That works. Now let's look at this bottom one. Without looking back, give me another name for domain. Can you think of another name for domain? Other than X and Y. Ryan. What? Close. Abscissa. Very close. Abscissa. All right, so let's write all the X's, all the abscisses, all the domains. What's the first one? 2. Then here? 1. Do I need to write another 1? No. And then what finally? 3. Okay? The word that goes with abscissa, do you remember? Ordinate. Good. Ordinate. All right, our first ordinate is 4, then 5, then 6, then 1. All right, so go ahead and map that. Map all your abscisses to your ordinates. 2 goes to 4, 1 goes to 5, 1 goes to 6, 3 goes to 1. And give a little hypothesis. Do you think, write it down, don't say it, do you think it's a function? So write down yes or no. Do you think it's a function? Does every x go to 1 and only one y? That's the question you're answering. All right? Kyle, what'd you answer?
I said no.
Why? Give me your reason.
It's like a birthday thing. You only have one birthday.
Okay, so what number is breaking the problem?
6. 1.
Okay, because number 1 goes to both 5 and 6. So that's not a function. Here we have Jalan. When the court reverses, now he's trying to guard who? Both of them. Is that going to work? No. One of the 2 of them is going to get by him. He can't guard both. Okay?